She didn't know what to do. The lone girl sat in the snowy field just behind her house as she did every night, hoping that she would somehow be granted the answer to her questions. And yet, every night for the past 3 months, she was left there to ponder. The night that surrounded her being was her only companion. Still, she waited. The sound of a twig snapping made her glance up, her breath puffing out like white smoke as she looked around for the source. Her violet eyes saw nothing out of the ordinary. Trees covered in snow, the footprint she had left that led her back to the small cabin she shared with her sister, and the small path to the lake. She was alone as far as her eyes could tell, but she didn't feel like she was. When she shivered, it wasn't from the cold that bit into her flesh, but the sudden sensation that she was being watched like prey. Pushing herself shakily up, she glanced wildly about, still not seeing the eyes that bore into her. Was she going crazy? Had he finally returned after so long? Wrapping her arms tightly around herself, she started back towards the cabin, slowly and cautiously at first. A harsh wind swept through the trees, making the cold once again bite at her, as she suddenly wished she had grabbed the jacket she had left behind. She picked up her pace as the shadows began to move and twist from the corner of her eyes. She had been found, but it wasn't him that had found her. No, it was what she had been hiding from all along. The girl began to run, praying to any and every deity that she could think of that made it back to the cabin before they could get her, before it was too late. If only she could make it, then maybe she could warn them, tell them that they had found her. Then they'd have to believe her. They wouldn't think her crazy anymore. A soft laugh rang through the trees as tears pricked at the woman's eyes. It was only a bit farther. Surely she could make it. She didn't dare look back as the sound of footsteps followed her now. She wondered vaguely if they'd still be there in the morning when what was left of her would be found, or if they'd be gone, leaving anyone and everyone to wonder what had happened to her. Would there be anything left of her to be found? She opened her mouth to scream as the cabin came into view, but the sound never got the chance to pass her lips as the darkness that had been stalking her for so long enveloped her and swallowed her whole. When I was about 13 years old, my dad got a call from a friend of his. His friend had shot a huge 8-point white-tailed buck and lost it the night before in the woods. The deer was shot with a bow at sunset and ran into the woods across a road. Dad's friend called him about 8 o'clock at night and told him that he needed help finding it the next day. My dad asked if I wanted to learn about tracking deer. I'm all for it because hunting is amazing, and off we go the next morning. This is out in Maryland's eastern shore, lots of woods, lots of hills, lots of walking. I was tired and trying to retrain what these two hunters are telling me, but still having a blast. We found a really long blood trail, fur. The whole thing was fun for me and my dad. We'd been out there for maybe an hour or two. I take a break near a small thing of trees that connect to the massive woods where the blood trail went. Dad's friend goes into the woods and I'm just looking at the trees, trying to spot a white belly or part of a rack. Then I saw something perched on 4 limbs. It was hard to see it, and it's been about a decade since I saw what looked like a fox, with a short muzzle, no tail, and really long limbs. Like deer length, deer thin limbs. It's just standing there, maybe 20 yards from me. I can't tell what it is or what color. I just know it's strange and it's not moving. That's not the weird part. That thing kind of just lopped away. Like those cat videos where the cat is scared, lifts its front feet off the ground and runs off on its back legs. Like that, only held its front legs higher, and it ran like that was the only way it had run it its entire life. Like that was natural for it to do. Hunched and hurried, but not wobbly. I only saw it for a few seconds. Dad scared the crap out of me by shouting about the 8-pointer being found. I told Dad I saw a weird animal. He said it may have been a fox. I told him about the legs being weird and long. He gave me the look that says stop making crap up. I got that look a lot. Well, I learned how to gut, drag, and track a deer that day. We took a trip to the butcher. I got to watch them begin processing, and that was that. As for what I saw, I've always had a big imagination. I could have just been sleep deprived because 6 a.m. on a Saturday for a 13-year-old is bullshit. Maybe it was just a fox that moved weird. Maybe it was a deer with a messed up head. I don't know. I only saw it for a few seconds. But what I do know is that deer and foxes don't run on their back legs. You might be getting yourself ready for bed, hopping out of the shower at night, or running to grab something before a date, when you inadvertently find yourself descending a flight of darkened stairs. About halfway down said flight, the urge to go that much faster jolts into your mind and you immediately obey. What are we running from that dwells in the darkness up the stairs? Is it simply the thought of darkness that causes us to want to leave the situation as soon as possible? Or is there something else, a darker, more sinister force awaiting us to take our time going down the stairs, to nab us and take us with them to their hellhole? Or perhaps it's a force of good, attempting to protect us from these things in the darkness. Could it be that every time we feel that urge to move faster, the very hands of an evil force are grabbing our back, and because of our sudden speed, we slip out of its grasp? Who knows? Just remember, next time that you're going down that flight of stairs, don't look back. Skip some stairs if necessary. It's about 9:35 at night. The show on your TV is silent. The volume is turned down. Maybe you're one of those people that has to have static noise in picture, even when listening to or watching something else. The living room light is on. 2 of the 5 bulbs have burnt out. The one in the back seems the next to go, but you don't think much about it as you stretch out in your chair. Something's been gnawing at the back of your mind. It's just a normal Monday night. The rain outside, a steady drizzle that freezes as it hits the road. Something that makes you want to look out the large panel window beside you, covered up by a Harley-Davidson blanket to keep the warmth in the house. You try and distract yourself, turning on your favorite band. Maybe it's Collective Soul or Rammstein or anything, doesn't really matter. Something to take your mind off of it. It's only 9:37 now, just a few minutes later, and you'll still have this urge to turn around and look out that window, shrouded by a black and orange blanket. You hear a slight tapping on the glass, like a fingertip trying to get your attention. You turn the music up louder, trying to drown it out. It becomes louder and more insistent now, faster and faster, still trying to draw your attention. It's in my head. I'm just worked up, too little sleep. Last night was crazy, you tell yourself. The rapping on the window ceases and you begin to settle back in. It's 9:41. You turn your attention back to the TV, commercials flooding your brain. The tapping returns, a simple, sharp tap. Curiosity overwrites fear, and you lift up the blanket with your left hand, expecting to see a stray limb from a tree smacking the window from the wind outside, or maybe nothing at all. A long, pale white tongue drags across the window, smacking back with another tap. Your heart stops as you look up, seeing two great white staring eyes bulging from an elongated face, lacerated with boiling cuts and scars coated with burns. Its face nearly as long as your window itself. It's upside down, hanging from your ceiling. Its mouth is lined with razor-sharp teeth. There must be thousands or millions of them. Several are rotten and pulsating. It keeps staring at you. Its mouth seems to be smiling, like it knows something you don't.
If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you'd like to, you can follow me at Twitter. The handle is @FuzzyPantaloons, and I'll see you all next time.